from the Columbus Technical College to provide the GED testing, which I think is probably something that we really need to try to encourage as much as we can, because hopefully these guys are going to get out with them someday. And if they can get out with a GED, then they're that much better off. But the contract will last for a period of 1 year, and you have the right from run January 1 of this year to December 31. And you have a right to cancel or terminate on 30 days calendar notice in the event that doesn't work. But I would recommend it to you with minor changes dealing with the structure of the improvement. Mr. Pete,
Steve, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, sir. Currently, we take on off-premise for testing, which is an expense we have to incur with the guards and the transportation. So this is just on-site. They'll bring the laptops. Everything's on the computer now, so they'll bring the laptops and actually bring it to the facility for testing, which will make it a little bit better.
So we try and help them, and we also save money.
Save money and help them make this thing happen. Yes, sir.
Well, I certainly think it's a good thing to do.
I do too. I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement.
Motion to approve, do we have a second? Mr. Woods?
I have a question I'd just like to understand on number 6. It was talking about the participating facility will provide a payment method for the actual test fee. I'd just like to understand. I don't know how it's done, just like to understand it.
And I would also have a question. I had the same question, Martha, believe it or not. On our cover sheet here says the cost is $20 per hour. That's just a tad misleading, because you could have 2 of your testing assistants, and that would be $40 an hour, correct? Plus, regarding Martha's question, we also have to pay the $32 test fee. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct, and that's actually per section, so that's kind of misleading also, because the test is set forward by the state, the testing fee, and there's certain sections they have to take. Now, used to, it was one test, now they have it broken into segments. So there's a English, math, social studies, science, there's 4 different sections. So all of them are $32 per section. Now, we pay that already now.
Okay.
So that's no change in that, and that's set forth by the state. So basically, the only change really occurring now is they will have a test administrator that will coordinate everything. Basically, we have a teacher that comes 3 nights a week now. This is provided by a grant from the state that teaches these inmates individually, and then they determine who is ready for the testing prior to the test being done. We actually pay for the voucher online ahead of time through Illinois State College, and then we set up the scheduling for them to actually come out and test. So nobody's tested unless we place them on the list prior to that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because the cost is $20 per hour is just a tad misleading.
is it the testing
So, and I think
services?
it's a great program.
And we should stay with just one with our size, but Muskogee County does it also, and they do utilize 2 due to their size.
If you look at number 4, A4, the testing services may require 2.
Right.
And then in the next sentence, the organizational bill participating $20 per hour for each.
Right.
So you have,
Right.
so you could have 2 of them that give for the hour,
Right.
so it's called $40.
All right, any other questions? All right. All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries.
Chairman, before the word gets away, I'd just like to thank you and your crews for the litter pickup. Unfortunately, it's a never-ending battle. I go frequently from Ellerslie down Columbus Manchester Expressway to the county line. Sometimes, I'll see so much trash on the way, and then I'll see even more when I come back. But it would be a lot worse problem if not for you and your crews picking up. I've actually witnessed some of the crews out there doing work, and just appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And please continue, because the problem continues as well, unfortunately.
Thank you, I appreciate it. All right, anything in,
John, you gonna get the changes for that agreement to me?
Yeah, I was going to.
John?
In just a matter of information, I gave you an amendment to the intergovernmental contract for Northwest Harris Business Park. If you will recall, when we bought the property in 2000, for the Northwest Harris Business Park, we created an intergovernmental agreement between the Development Authority of Harris County and Harris County. You own the property, and for each piece that is being transferred and utilized for industrial development purposes, you've entered into an amendment to that intergovernmental contract, and this is just the one that we will be putting on, executing and moving forward with, so that we can transfer the 32 acres from the county to the Development Authority, and they can subsequently convey it to Glovis, or pursue it to the intergovernmental, the memorandum of understanding, to an entity that will, is an LLC, and this entity will enter into a contract to build the building, and then subsequently convey it to Realty Income, which is a permanent financing entity, and then the Realty Income will enter into a lease agreement with Glovis for Glovis to repay for the construction cost, and then the tax abatement benefits will be passed on under that lease by Realty Income back to Glovis. So this is just for your information purposes, but there will be a deed that's coming out of the Development Authority, out of you to the Development Authority, and then they will convey it subject to the memorandum of understanding. And then there will also be an assignment of the rights and obligations under the memorandum of understanding, which is provided for in the MOU, that they are entitled to convey this to other entities in order to be able to construct the building. So after 5 years is up with the abatement, then Glovis will, for the consideration specified, which is $10, be able to purchase the property back, and will be in their name, and that they have some goals that they have to meet as far as, so they can keep their tax abatement as far as the amount of the investment in the proposed jobs there. So anyway, that agreement amendment is provided to you for your information purposes. Just to kind of update it, how it's going.
Why does it have to be so complicated?
I don't know.
That's a rhetorical question. It says lawyer. I know the answer, it says lawyer.
Well, I was on the telephone last week, and in fact, we had a meeting down here, and it kept getting phone calls, so I suggest we have a meeting down here, trying to get this thing worked out, and we had 6.
8 lawyers and 7 regular people.
Yeah,
What's the problem?
Yeah, one was from California, one lawyer's from Atlanta, no, 3 were from Atlanta. Oh, there was a sack full of them, I know that.
When Bill Bly was going on.
Oh, Lord, yeah, and so, but I think everybody's on the same wavelength, and we made all the changes and got the assignment of the MOU pretty much ready to go. We're gonna try to close it, in a day or two, because Mike Gray from, what's the name, RPG or?
Ridgeline.
Yeah, Ridgeline. But he's sweating that he won't be able to get the building done in time for Glovis to get in and start producing by September the 1st, so.
And I will say this, if it hadn't been for Mr. Taylor and his expertise, they were getting ready to head down a path that would have been a lot more legal. And,
Well, I don't know about that.
He was able to point out to them that we could do it by a simple means. And so even though that still required a number of things that got done.
I only understood maybe 1/3 of what Mr. Taylor said, but I'm still willing to make a motion we approve.
Okay.
I'll say.
That was information on the.
I hate
It was information on it.
It's already in the agreement, it's just all right. Okay, Greg?
I was concerned when Mr. Davis called that it might be a hazardous waste still or something, but it was a bit of a personal crisis. His mother-in-law has to go in for emergency surgery, I guess, tomorrow morning, so That was what that issue was about, and, personal but not county issue. Topographics, we just acquired another 20 acres at the airport, which will allow us to put the entrance road to the back of the property and allow us to facilitate other uses. We have the area that's just the red line is proposal 1, and then option 2 takes up the whole property. At some point in time, we're going to want to use that other property, so it doesn't seem very cost effective to pay for it twice, because if you went back and had to do the whole property, you'd have to be tying in just that small portion. So the airport board recommended that you do option 2 and do a full topographic study on the newly acquired property. That has been logged now, so it'll be much easier to go ahead and accomplish it now that it's clear, and we're recommending option 2.
All right.
The prices with it being staked out.
It's already staked, that new area. That's just for the new area, where we're going to do construction. The 28.
We're okay with identified property lines.
Yes, well, that's already staked, but we're going to get them to put some metal markers down or show us where to put them.
All right. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
This is for option 2.
Okay. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. All right, REBA grant.
This is an association with the Glovis property. Last week, we weren't expecting to have to do this application. I was kind of under the impression that the state had got it all arranged, but the state has made a commitment, given a commitment letter, a recommendation letter. However, there is a fairly significant grant application that you have to do. I am probably 2/3 of the way of accomplishing that. We could have done an RFP and haven't let somebody do it, but it has to be in by February 5th, so I really didn't have turnaround time. So I've already started on the application, but we still need permission to apply for it, even though we've already promised it to Globus, if that all makes sense, the way things have gone this time.
And it is a true grant. We do not have to pay it back. It's
Correct.
coming from the state.
Through the development part.
Through the development authority.
Yes.
So I will entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries.
I do have one other item in 9A.
All right.
Got notification.
Wait. Okay.
Got notification from the library folks today that the legislature is considering upping the limitation on library funding from $2 million to $3 million, which would be, and we are in line hopefully to get that funding this year. And I wanted to bring that to the board's attention, and they've asked us to come out in support of that. So need the board's support to contact our legislatures and ask them, 1, to support the $3 million in funding, and 2, support Harris County for being on that funding list.
Just to remind everyone, the last SPLOST, not the current one, but the last SPLOST, we approved $1.5 million to be set aside for the construction of a new library. With this current SPLOST, we had approved an additional, the citizens had approved an additional $500,000. Thinking being that puts us at $2 million, and that will allow us to qualify for a matching grant from the state of $2 million, which is their maximum amount. The initial plans for the libraries were for about $4.85 million. So a committee was being formed to do some fundraising to try and come up with that $850,000 to another $1 million. With the change in the minimum, or not necessarily the minimum, but the change in the maximum of $1 million from the state, we might as well ask them for the $3 million and see what they do. We are currently number 8 on the list. we moved up from 23 the year before, so we moved up to number 8. We have a strong case to make. We have the property, thanks to Callaway. We have the $2 million already. We've got one architect's rendering that we can take in. That's not necessarily the final one, but it's one that are there. So I think you probably got emails within the last day or two with the contact phone numbers, if you did not already have them, for our delegation, elected officials, and it would be very helpful if each of us would contact them and just ask for their support. Hopefully we can get a little bit more of a gift and maybe move up and get it done this year.
So the additional amount does not require a match?
No.
It's not a 50-50.
It sounded like not going.
Yeah, no, it's not necessarily.
So with number 8 on the list, do you know how far they got down the list last time? Perhaps?
Well, and don't take that list as something that's just set in blood. It's not. Sometimes they will jump down. And I think with knowing that we've got X amount of money, I do know that of the top 10, I believe, I forget exactly, but I believe 3 were for additions to existing libraries somewhere else, and the balance were for new libraries or replacement library, as in our case. The regional director seems to feel like we have a good chance of getting it this year. I don't know if any of you are friends of the library, remember friends of the library, but I think they've had some discussion too. But it looks very promising, and I would say, you know, since the state did put more funds into that, and it, as the emails you got point out, it helps with education, and education is a strong point in the was a strong point in the governor's campaign run this year. So you know, it meets that, kind of helps with it. So but since they put more dollars into it, we may stand a good chance of getting it then. So I think that was just information only, but if you would make those calls, thank you, Greg, for bringing that to our attention.
Also, I need executive session for personnel and land.
And I'd like to say potential threat and litigation.
Just bring that up.
Executive session for all 3. All right, entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
We have a second.
Got it, second.
All right, all in favor? Okay.